Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Thoughts worth sharing. How much water is enough water that we drink during the day? Some people drink more than 1.5 litres, Rania?
I drink about 1.5 litres every day.
Throughout the day?
Yeah.
Which is very good.
Yeah. But it should be more.
Should be more. Dawood, how much do you drink?
Yeah, just average 3 500 milliliter bottles.
So that means...
It's around the same, yeah.
It's 1 litre throughout the day. So I'm looking at my quick count. I can drink about 3 of the 300 millilitres of water, so 1 for each hour. That's how I target myself.
Right.
That's 1 litre, litre and a bit. And then I do drink about 1 litre during workouts. And then I have 1 glass of water when I'm at home. So I don't drink enough, technically.
Oh, that's not enough at all.
Especially given the training that I do. A lot of boxing, a lot of running as well. So not enough. And we live in the wonderful world of air conditioning. And sometimes it can be slightly more dehydrating. Speaking of hydration levels at work, we've joined by a technical director from Culligan Middle East. And it is Rodger MacFarlane. A very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you.
Well, it's great to hear from you, Rodger, and it is going to be a very exciting times indeed. Now, let's start talking about this general discussion. Are we drinking enough water at the workplaces, and what made you come up with this campaign at Culligan as well?
Well, Culligan is a water company. That's all we do. We don't do furniture or ice cream or anything like that. Water is what we do. So... it's right at the center of absolutely everything. Although drinking water is only part of what we do, it's a very important part. We do a lot of work in the food service industry where water is going into is an ingredient. It's for cooking and making soft drinks and coffees and things like this. And also in the workplace and in households. Drinking enough water for employees maintains concentration. So obviously, if you're running any kind of business, one of your main objectives, especially at the moment, has to be to make sure every member of your team is performing to the absolute best of their ability to deliver the results that you're looking for from them. So drinking enough water maintains their concentration during the day, meaning they stay alert, focused, and productive. People who don't drink enough water, particularly in a hot climate, can quickly become dehydrated. They get tired, they lose concentration, ultimately performance suffers, and their physical and mental health can suffer as well. So it's very important that a source of, we call it quality water, but what do we mean by quality water? Something that is safe to drink, something that is tasty, that's at the temperature that people want to consume. Not everyone wants to have cold water, for instance. Some people prefer room temperature water. Some people prefer even warm water. So it's about making sure that people have that choice. And we've placed a big emphasis on developing filters so that people don't have to have these 5-gallon bottles around the place. To be fair, we still make them because there's still a demand for them, but gradually the demand is falling for the plastic. In our own workplace and at home, we've eliminated plastic bottles, single-use plastic bottles, the 5 gallons, the half-litre bottles. They don't exist. I'm showing you this on our video link because you guys can see it, but obviously the listeners at home can't see this. I have a stainless steel insulated bottle, and I fill that several times during the course of the day. It's a 500 milliliter bottle, and it's taken a little while for me to get there, but I've trained my body to consume between 3 and 3.5 liters of water a day comfortably.
Wow.
I started at 2, and it went up to 2.5, and now I cruise at around 3. But there's you started really by asking the question about how much water people should be drinking. Well, studies have shown that for an adequate water balance, a water intake equal to 1 milliliter for every kilocalorie consumed is about right. So assuming that an individual, even a static individual sitting at a desk or sitting at home watching TV, is going to burn around 2,000 calories a day, that means you're needing to consume about 2 liters, about 8 glasses a day. That quantity should obviously increase. One of you mentioned the fact that you drink more water when you're working out, you sweat, you lose water when you're doing that, and obviously you need to make that additional loss up on top of the 2 liters.
Yeah, Rodger, you spoke about different flavors or different types of water and preferences as well. Some people prefer, there's a trend actually of drinking certain types of water. For example, flavored or infused water. There's also this trend of drinking, for example, 2 liters of detox water. That's like the trend now, consisting of lemon, mint, and cucumber. So is that of benefit? And does it really add to the daily water consumption mandatory amount, or should we just stick to pure water?
Well, my personal belief is that as long as you're not adding sugar.
Yeah.
So as long as you're not adding, if you're not drinking sugary, or adding sugar syrups to the water, then adding some fruit or some fruit flavors or something like that can do no harm whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Different people have different views on which temperature water is best for you. My personal preference is cold sparkling water. I like mine really bubbly. And I find that works best for me. What does that mean, works best for me? Scientifically, does it? No, it doesn't mean it's scientifically best for me. It's the one I enjoy drinking.
Yeah.
So it's the one that I will reach for the bottle and I will pick up and I will drink. If I was to put a bottle of room temperature water or a glass of room temperature water, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be reaching out my hand to drink it because that's my preference.
Right.
Other people have different preferences, and they might prefer something a little warmer, and they maybe people wouldn't prefer the gas.
You've talked quite a bit about the benefits of drinking plenty of water. You've also talked about how much consumption how much water you should be drinking in essence, especially when you're working out and such. But it's from what we hear, it's incredibly difficult for people to deliberately drink healthy amounts of water. Typically, you talk to people, they drink less water than they should. Can you give the listeners and us here some tips on how to increase our water consumption so that it's healthy?
Sure. Try and have a drink with every meal. It could be some flavored water, it could be just some plain water, but try to have a drink with every meal. If you have a glass of water with every meal, you're going to get through 3 or 4 glasses before you even start with any other form of hydration. As I mentioned earlier, choose beverages, choose drinks that you enjoy. You're likely to drink more liquid if you like the way that it tastes. As I say, for me, sparkling water is my preference, but for other people, it would be very different. Eat plenty of fruit and veg. There's lots of water in fresh fruit and vegetables. They'll add to your hydration. Sometimes difficult to calculate precisely how much water that's adding. Yeah. But about 20% of our fluid intake comes from foods. Keep a bottle of water with you all the time. Keep a bottle with you in your car, at your desk, in your bag. Keep water around you all the time. And if you're watching your calories, go for non-calorie beverages. Water is the best. It's 0 calories. You can drink as much of it as you like. You really have to drink serious quantities of water in order to get into any problems with it. So realistically, you can drink as much as you like. And here's a really interesting point. Survival specialists, particularly desert survival specialists, will tell you that sipping water actually doesn't hydrate you. It's certainly not as effective as drinking a whole glass. I watched a guy, an Australian fellow who, helps people survive out in the outback. And he said, if you've got a canteen of water, you shouldn't be, sip, and, just leave it. You have to drink a quantity of water, a glass of water, something like a 250 milliliter or an 8-ounce glass of water, which is not really an awful lot, but you need to drink all of it. It's much better for you from a hydration point of view. And you'll also find that you can get through water more quickly, if you see what I mean, more effortlessly, if you're drinking a glass of water rather than sipping all the time. You just end up getting fed up with it and you put it down and you leave it. drink a glass of water. When I was trying to build my numbers up, I just set a timer on my watch to go off every half an hour, and I will drink a glass of water. Or in my case, I drink half of my bottle.
Yeah.
So because the bottle's half a liter.
That's a very good technique. And Roger, we had this planned as our question. A couple of people have been texting the exact same aspect. There's another person that's texted in this morning, Rahul, and he says to us that I don't get thirsty enough during the day because I have my AC on in the office. And we had talked about this, saying in terms of air conditioning, does it really dehydrate us as well? Because we love to be celebrating the summers here, and now that the winter conditions are here as well, we're quite content saying, okay, if we step outside, it's only 20 degrees, 25 degrees Celsius. I'm not as tired as I used to be during the summer. So I don't need to drink enough water. I don't need to drink water.
It is a challenge, and the toilet breaks are definitely a challenge. I can testify to that. And just at the point when I was starting out on my journey to increase my hydration, I went on a road trip around the coast of Norway. That was tough. It was really, really, really tough. Not so bad when you're out in the forest and you can run off and hide behind a tree, but it's a little more tricky when you're up in up the side of a mountain somewhere. But realistically, air conditioning does cool you. You do sweat less. You do require less water. But on the flip side of that, air conditioning does dry the air. It dries your skin. It will make your mouth more dry. It will mean that on some respects you might feel that you want to drink more. I think the important thing is to build up to what you're comfortable with. Try and drink as much water as you can. The 2 liter is a guideline. For some people, they will just say, no, I can't consume that much liquid. I'll be spending far too much time in the bathroom, and it's just not possible. But for many others, and I've got relatives and friends who've gone through this process, they'll say, well, actually, once you get the hang of it, 2 liters of water is a breeze. Bearing in mind that the 2 liters of water is during a 24-hour period. Some people don't drink any water at night, for instance. I drink half a liter of water from when I go to sleep to when I get up in the morning. Wow. Now, that's going to require a couple of bathroom stops, but it certainly is quarter of a day's requirement. So you've only then got to get through, another 3 bottles during the day.
Exactly. Well, Roger, I've got to touch upon this aspect as well. We've... we do celebrate the work of the frontline heroes, and now what we've been told, there is a term for you, a water doctor. And that's your department of being a technical director of water. For us consumers, we just get a bottle of water and we drink it. But there's so much work that goes behind it. So I want to get a quick glimpse in terms of what your role is.
And water treatment.
Water treatment. Okay. The simplest definition of water treatment that I can give you is to turn the water that is not suitable for a particular purpose, whatever that purpose is, into water that is suitable for the purpose. So drinking water, you want to make it safe and you want to make it palatable. So typically we manage the mineral quality in the water to make it taste really good. We will take out bacteria, and if you've got a water filtration system rather than a bottled water system, we will filter that water to take out any bacteria. We will filter the water to take out any things that don't taste very good, like iron or chlorine. So that's one type of water treatment, but there's so many others. I'll just give you one other example. So we produce systems which will turn tap water, into water that's suitable for hemodialysis. Very, very high purity water, and the treatment process that's required for that is really very sophisticated. Essentially, it's like a blackboard rubber, the chemical equivalent of a blackboard rubber that takes absolutely everything out. And killing the bacteria in the water is even then not enough. The bacteria, when they die, they produce byproduct, and you have to take all of that out as well. Wow. So there's a lot of dialysis systems in this country. The population here is genetically predisposed to requiring dialysis. And so that, we do a lot of that kind of work, but that's literally just one example. We've got, but the simplest definition.
Yeah.
So we're producing chemicals that will treat the impurities in the water. We're producing equipment that will remove the impurities in the water. So treating it is about making it fit for purpose. That's the simplest definition I can give you.
I'm curious to know, how long is the process of treating water? How long does it take approximately?
Well, if you were to take the raw water supply and, the best example I can give you is if you have a home filtration system. You have a little tube that comes from the tap under the sink that connects into the back of the home filtration system. And there is no kind of, apart from the cooler reservoir, there's no tank in there. You put the bottle or the glass or the cup underneath and you press the button, whichever button you choose, and the filtration is done within the system. It's instantaneous. There's no time.
Amazing.
Well, certainly sounds very interesting, and it was a very thought-provoking and very fruitful discussion this morning. So, Rodger, thank you very much for joining us and taking time out to enlightening us with the consumption and the importance of consuming more water than we normally do.
Most welcome.
Well, we look forward to seeing you very shortly as well, and seeing you soon here in the studios. That was Rodger MacFarlane, who's the technical director at the Culligan Middle East, and we will continue the discussions here on the Morning Majlis right after the short break, and we'll focus a little bit more internationally what's going on, particularly in Africa. Well, stay tuned to Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.